Welcome to the Journey of Self-Growth Podcast, episode 28. I am ThE, the host of this event, which was created so myself and others can share perspective on the concept of it in hopes that one another's journeys will be relatable, establishes awareness, and inspires listeners to adopt and maintain such behavior. It is now called the Journey of Growth Podcast. It was formerly the Journey of Self-Growth Podcast. For me, I think self-growth and growth is interchangeable and one and the same. So this is why I chose to rename it the Journey of Growth Podcast. For those interested in being a guest on the show, you are invited to do so. You can reach out to me on Instagram at KiteRaps and send me a direct message there. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook at Kite Smith. And so today I have a new featured guest. His camera isn't working, but he can be a part of the episode through verbally communicating because he can hear me and I can hear him. And I intend to hopefully have him on an additional episode in the future. He is a friend of mine. We grew up together. His name is Mr. Dom Hill. Hello, Dom. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not much. I'm glad you chose to take the initiative to go into the journey into the unknown with me, and hopefully that we can discover more about each other and ourselves in this unknown situation, which is hopefully going to result in growth for both of us. So my first question is, what can you tell me about yourself?
Dominic Hill. I'm 41. I'm a union electrician. I'm just an everyday dude, man. I have a cold. You have to forgive me. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty easygoing.
Mm-hmm. And what are you currently working? And if so, what is your occupation?
I'm a union electrician. I'm currently working. I'm working a 6-10 schedule right now. So I'm working at a power plant station, and got off of work, rushed home so we could do that.
Cool. I hope you'll be able to relax at some point after the interview. And
Sure.
I admire your choice to be productive in your life. So my next question is, what would be your perspective on growth?
Growth is what you want it to be. If a person has dreams, ambition, and want, you're gonna make sure you get close to your goals and what you have set for yourself every day. Every day is a new goal to try to reach.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I try to intentionally reach for new goals in my life daily. And what I learned from a previous guest, if you can put forth at least 1% effort daily, that is a step in the right direction. My next question is, how are you currently growing?
Oh man, last year I started my own company. Shoot. I've just lived, man. Every day I'm doing something to be better than I was the day before. It's not something I really brag about and really take time to really think about, I just try to live my life.
Mm-hmm. And you need to come back into the podcast so you can see the visuals, but I know you can hear me, but you're currently out. Okay, cool. And also, So, what would be some examples of initiatives that you made, in addition to starting your own business, that you attribute to growth in your life?
I mean, shoot. For me, growth is all about surrounding yourself with the right people and changing your whole mindset. If they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you want growth, you got to get uncomfortable and get into a place where you need to be and get to that place where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is an option, we got everybody got the same 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to determine how you want to utilize it.
What inspired you to start your own business?
Well, in my line of work, everybody wants to run work. I never had a chance to do it, and I'm not really one to beg either. So, opposed to me getting the opportunity there, I'll just go and create my own.
You said use the term. You said run work. What's that?
Running work is to basically having a crew of men that you're leading, and you have to have an objective.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of politics in construction. I'm not a politician, so I don't play those games.
So the elect the electronical I mean the electricity industry politics is something that myself and probably other listeners aren't aware of. Can you provide insight on how that works?
Well, basically, you have to figure out, it's always strength in numbers. So, sometimes people get into a crew or, they look out for them. I never really, be honest with you, I almost quit. Excuse me. I almost quit, but I don't know how to quit. So I just want to stay through and got what I needed. Once I got my card, it allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now you see me.
What so I imagine for most individuals, the idea of going into a specific industry usually is inspired by some sort of occurrence in their life that help to raise their awareness of like, oh, this interests me. What inspired you to want to become an electrician?
Well, you remember when we was kids, y'all used to call me Gadget Man. I was always making stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like when I graduated college, I knew I wasn't somebody who was going to do too well in corporate America. That's just not my thing. Going to the same job, I probably would have been the guy hanging out around a water cooler sometimes. Just I get bored out of cubicles. Not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. I think a lot more, especially with the way the economy is, everybody needs to have a hustle. You got to have something that you can bring, that can bring you revenue in a moment's notice, and that you don't have to rely on somebody else to give it to you. You got to know how to market your own self.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what was the first step you took? Well, so you said that when you were a child, you enjoyed working on things, using your hands to fix things or take things apart, um, which could go down various avenues in terms of being a mechanic or being an engineer. But was there a specific experience or like someone's telling you about being a electrician that helped you to be stimulated to want to go on that particular path?
No, not really. My family, they played a big major part in that kind of stuff. I can honestly say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also it's just things that I would naturally, like we were talking about, like with those talents. My talents were, look at a problem and figure out how to solve it. So everybody has a hidden talent that they don't know about. It's up to you to figure out how to utilize and how to obtain it or how to perfect it.
Mm-hmm. And so with how you describe this hidden talent, I would imagine you chose to volunteer yourself in an experience which helped you to unlock that hidden talent. So what was the initiative that you took that started your career path as an electrician?
I was graduating from college and I was presented with an opportunity to get into an apprenticeship
Mm-hmm.
For electrical. Changed my life.
Oh, and what can you tell me about this apprenticeship program?
I went through a 5-year apprenticeship after graduating from college.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically training and also schooling. And that's how I obtained and then I had to take a state exam and test. So I'm certified. And I can now have a job anywhere in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm glad you're able to attain that certification.
Thank you.
Yeah. But more specifically, in terms of the apprenticeship program, for those people who may be interested in taking that career path, is there a name for this program, or how would someone go about applying for this particular program? What's the name of it?
Well, I personally went through IBEW,
Mm-hmm.
International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Mm-hmm.
They have some trade schools. It doesn't really matter how you get in. It's all about, once you're in, that you're utilizing your opportunities to the best of your ability. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And you said that the name is one part of the name is a brotherhood. Do you sense like brotherly love when in this industry that you're working in?
Just as in life, as in nature, there's predators and there's also people that want to be harmonious and work together. But that's with any type of industry. Like I said, it's all about how you make it.
Mm-hmm. So what's your intention when you are going to work and working in that field?
To go try to create something that's extraordinary, that looks beautiful, and also at the end of the day, to get a check. I mean, I enjoy doing what I do, and even if I would have won the lottery, I would still work. I just probably wouldn't work as much. But to be able to go someplace and utilize my mind and do some of the things that I do, I mean, it's second to none, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy your job.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone who is uncertain of what they are passionate about to volunteer in an experience that may interest them, but they don't know if they would enjoy it, because uncertainty seems like it's an unknown, it's a natural occurrence in life, and one can think about how it would be in an experience, but to actually be in it, I think is a different circumstance. And so for me, when I started this podcast, I wasn't certain if I would enjoy it or not, but I watched podcasts before I started this, and the idea intrigued me and seemed interesting to me. So based on how other people were putting forth an effort, that motivated me to take the steps to start my own. And during the taking the steps to finally launching it, I come to the realization that this is an experience that I enjoy engaging and participating in, similar to my friend Dom and his engagement with being a electrician. So for those who are unaware of like the daily tasks and responsibilities of an electrician, how would you describe being your responsibilities?
So to be an electrician, I'm basically a detective, or sometimes I'm installing stuff, so I have to run conduit. It's a lot of mathematics. You gotta, you can't really have a way. You gotta have a way of just making things work. I can't really explain it. Even if I have an obstacle, then there's a lot of code that you have to learn.
Mm.
And it's interesting.
The way you described it so far, it seems like when it comes to coding, installing, problem solving, these experiences are different, they seem like they're all interconnected. Is that a fair assessment of what it's like?
Yeah, pretty much. Because when I go to somebody's house and look at what's going on, somebody wants me to add in a receptacle or whatever. I also have to know, okay, what year was the house built? So different houses have, after a certain point, some of them don't have ground. Some of them, they put a stud in the middle of the joint. It's a lot of stuff that you have to know. And you got to know exactly, okay, so if I have to deal with that, how am I going to get around this? So it's like I said, you're playing detective and you're just making things happen.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like it can be a dangerous job. It seems like steps need to be done in sequence versus skipping over steps. Is that also important when it comes to being an electrician?
Well, you got to have respect. You know, you're dealing with something that's invisible.
Mm.
So when you put it like that, you know, I treat everything like it's hot. You got to have respect for it. You know, you grab some 277 in the ground, whoo, that's going to hurt. And then, like, shoot, you can get electrocuted. Getting electrocuted from a battery hurts even more than getting electrocuted from an AC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that kicks you like a mule.
Mm-hmm.
I got electrocuted when I was a kid by a disposable camera.
Wow.
Yeah, that shit hurt.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you weren't seriously injured.
And I've had things explode and blow up. Boom! You think the 4th of July get it cracking, man. You cut into a wire that has both, or you cut into a hot in the ground at the same time, or the hot in the neutral. You'll see something interesting.
Mm.
Get an arc flash. That's 30,000 degrees of hot molted lava, copper that can come at you.
Mm.
That hurts.
That seems alarming.
And that's gonna burn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope you avoid that circumstance.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good so far. But like I said, you gotta have respect for it. You can't do nothing without respect.
Well, and so in relation to electricity, how would you define respect for electricity?
You test everything before you touch it. Even if you know it's off, you still test it. Make sure. Never make assumptions. Nothing can be assumed. Everything has to be a no. You know, if you're working with somebody, y'all got to be on the same page. Nobody can be a cowboy trying to do their own thing. You working with somebody like that, You sit them, hey man, you're not doing all that. No,
Yeah.
no. Because like you gotta keep in mind now, if you work on 277 or 480, if it goes through you, it'll explode through your fingertips, through the top of your head. It always wants the only thing electricity wants to do is reach ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can get killed. I mean, getting hit by 120, it hurts. You know, but the thing about it though, it allows you to drop it and walk away. You get hit by 277, 480. 480 gonna probably blow you back a little bit, so you might get lucky if you're lucky enough to get blown back. But that 277, it causes your muscles to contract. So if you're working with somebody, they gotta hit you with a piece of wood or something just to knock you off the line, because if not, you'll just stay there and cook.
Oh my goodness.
And electricity cooks you from the inside out. So from the middle of your bone marrow, it cooks you there, then it works its way out.
Mm. Yeah, that's
what makes it so painful.
Yeah, it does seem like it would be painful, and you use some numbers, you use some numerical terms which the listeners may not be familiar with. I think you said 277.
These are all voltages. So the voltage,
okay,
which pushes the amperage.
Okay.
So yeah, imagine like a wave. So or you have a excuse me. The best way I can describe it, say like you're at the beach,
mm-hmm.
and you see rocks in the water, right?
Yeah.
And they're being pushed around.
Yeah.
So the rocks are like your amperage. The waves are like your voltage. So the more power those waves have, the stronger, the more that current's moving, right? Which is making those rocks and stuff moving in the sediment,
mm-hmm.
keeping all that sediment. So that's basically all your amperage is all that sediment.
Mm-hmm.
The higher the voltage, the lower the amperage.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need as many amps. The lower the voltage, the higher the amperage.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you get caught with that, it's a bad day. So you ever notice like some people, they might get caught in the surf?
Yes.
Perfect example. So when you get caught in the surf, when those waves are really kicking up, that's high voltage. You can't get out of there. You're stuck.
Mm.
When that water's calm, that's what makes it easier for it to go about its business.
Yeah.
It allows you to get out of the waves and the water a lot easier.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like how you use that analogy to hopefully make the concept of electricity and currents relatable for listeners who are familiar with swimming or being in the swimming pool or the ocean. I like that.
Yeah, because electricity's bad, and you get it. Plumbers got it crazy. Pipe fitters, steam fitters, pneumatic. All that stuff is powerful. You could be around some pressure, steam that comes out of pipes so high that it can cut off limbs without you even realizing what just happened. Some of the liberties that we use every day, people don't really appreciate and don't really know exactly what keeping these amenities plentiful.
Yes.
So like I said, you got to respect it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, they sleep. People think people working construction are just a bunch of idiots and blah blah blah. No, you can't be no dummy doing construction. But unfortunately, you have to also keep in mind that trades were made so that a man who couldn't or didn't really see that he wanted to go to college can still provide for his family because he has a trade. Not everybody's cut out to read books and be productive like that. Sometimes, there's some blue collar work is what it's called. You got to know how to get down into the trenches.
Yeah, I appreciate what you and other forms of people in the trades do for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because people be sleeping on it. When they say a man that has dirty hands has a clean money, there ain't no lie. You ain't got time to be doing no dirty stuff. I mean, you probably do, but you'll never notice.
I want to go back to your description of respect in relation to electricity, and you had said when it comes to interacting and engaging with electricity, you should never assume that the devices that are conducting the electricity is inactive, which to me I think is relatable to life. I think sometimes people fall into the temptation of assuming that someone outside of themselves know what they know or is thinking what they're thinking, which can cause conflicts and misunderstandings. And so when I think about individuals seemingly are also electrical beings. So I like how you use that, how you gave me a better interpretation of relationships. And would you agree that having respect for electricity is also on the same plane as having respect for someone other than yourself?
I mean, well, we could take it one step further. I mean, even in nature, I tell people all the time, if you look at nature is the best teacher of all. If you don't have nature or respect or awareness in nature, you won't make it. Animals know what's going on because they're more in tune with the world and with the earth. Humans, I hate to say it, if we died, this earth would prosper. You're laughing, but I'm being real serious. Nothing, you can't have nothing without getting something.
Yeah. No, I relate to what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. And when you had said nature is the best teacher, what experience could you refer to that statement?
As far as which one were you saying again?
So you said nature is the best teacher. From your perspective, what would be an example of that?
Well, let's see, where do I start with that? I mean, perfect example. When they were about to have a tsunami, people noticed all the elephants and all the animals were going to higher ground. Everybody, all the humans stayed close to the water and were sipping their mimosas.
Right. Yeah. So it seems like the animals was focused on the activity of what was currently happening, where someone who was sitting down drinking a mimosa was probably in the state of daydreaming or not being present. Is that what you're alluding to?
Think about it. I mean, humans, if we didn't have electricity in grocery stores, most humans wouldn't make it. You ever thought about that?
I can imagine. Yeah.
If we lost our power grid right now, we will be screwed. If we didn't have our cars, our automobile, they're not in tune no more.
And how would one become in tune with nature from your perspective?
I don't know. It's something I guess I can't really pinpoint that right now, but it's like, I think a lot of people are so caught up in themselves. Like, in their iPhone, in their phones, on Facebook, caught up worried about what somebody else is doing or how they're living and what they don't have or what they're trying to get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people are caught up with their goals that they're trying to reach or their failures that they're trying to get over. You know, we don't really live in the present.
Mm-hmm.
I think what movie was that? I think it was Kung Fu Panda. It was, man, they had a really important part in there when she said, you know, it's called the present because it's a gift. You know, because you can't worry about the future and you can't dwell on your past. I'm not giving it to you the quote as it was, but you know, you kind of get adjusted where it's going. You can't. You got to focus on what's going on. You got to stay present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, what helps me to remain present or stay present is I had to choose to surrender expecting things of the world versus being intuitive, similar to an animal. I think when we expect things, those expectations are just simply not realistic. But if you're intuitive and being appreciative of the moment and being observant of the moment versus expecting how the moment should be behaving, then that's when we can be more humbled. Would you agree
Yeah,
with that?
I would. Yes, actually, I would. Um,
I could see, you could turn your phone around if you want, or
is
I,
it working?
I could see your mouse.
No, I forgot my code for my. I don't go on my desktop too often. No, I still tripping. Won't let me turn it around.
But you could still turn it around so we could see. You know what I mean?
Y'all don't need to see my pretty face right now. I got a cold, my nose running. I look like Roscoe. My mama said, "Nah, I'm not gonna." But no, but it's like, you know, it'd be a cold place if more people encourage one another to success, opposed to trying to be in competition with everybody. So I look at things as being in a marathon and not a race. There's a difference between a race and a marathon.
What's the difference?
Well, when you're in a race, you're racing against everybody around you. But when you're in a marathon, everybody's around you, but you're still racing amongst yourself.
I like that. I didn't know that that was a difference, actually.
Yeah. Because it's up to you to finish that race.
Hmm.
Nobody else, I mean, unless you're the top three, you might get a reward, but you can come in dead last and still finish because why? There might be people that wish I mean, that's kind of like that one saying, it's better to have tried than to have thought about and wish to have done it.
Hmm.
You got to respect the person that gives a thorough try.
Yeah. Yeah.
A dreamer don't get nothing but a dream.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It's all, you know, circumstances.
I didn't expect that one to come up like that.
So I know from my experience, you do enjoy nature and animals. What do you appreciate about nature and animals? No, let me ask you another question, more specific. So just to give y'all some insight, he and I were childhood friends. We grew up together, and since I've known him, he has owned a variety of different pets, from dogs to fish. And I think I had a couple dogs or two as a kid, but I would say on scale, Dom had more pets in his life than I did for sure. And so I've never asked you this, but why did what intrigued you to want to have animals in your life as much as you have and currently are?
had a reptile, and I had a Nile monitor. I raised him from a hatchling, got up to 6 feet. But you know, with animals, it's in their nature to sometimes bite you, to sometimes do what they do, like a snake. A snake is gonna bite sometimes, no matter what. It doesn't have the best vision. It's all smell and nothing and teeth. Dogs. A dog is gonna be loyal to you because you raise cats. Gonna be loyal because you raised it. Fish, they gonna do what they do, but you can train some fish to interact with you. But they don't really. They're always consistent.
Mm-hmm.
They don't falter. Their allegiance to you doesn't sway with the times. You know.
Mm-hmm.
People do.
Mm.
You can grow up with somebody. I mean, we grew up with people that, you know, they change, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know, we grew up with people that ended up bringing pain to somebody else who they grew up with. I'm like, you guys used to stay together. Y'all was together y'all was like brothers. You know, people don't really take that into consideration. Like, I notice the older you get, the less. I don't care about having a posse or a crowd. I just want consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need all the other hype. Just if you say you're gonna do something, do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't falter with whatever you say or your whatever we have already discussed.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And the way you described your relationships with your animals, it seems to me when it comes to animals outside of humanity, they seem to demonstrate unconditional love, unconditional appreciation for the people who take care of them or raise them, be it a dog or a snake. Though a snake still may bite you, it still doesn't have conditions for you having that relationship with you, or even like a dog, right? The dog.
It gets comfortable in your presence, like, you know.
And so like,
huh?
so it's like I like how you use the dog reference, because it seems like the dog doesn't tell the owner, hey, if you don't feed me, I'm gonna leave you. Hey, if you don't pet me, I'm not gonna go on a walk with you. You know, those are conditions that could come out of the mouth, something similar to a person. You know what I mean? If you don't pay for my meal, then I'm not gonna go on a date with you. That's a condition. But when it comes to animals, it seems like they demonstrate unconditional appreciation for those who choose to engage and have a relationship with them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, the thing I really appreciate about nature.
Mm-hmm.
A leopard will help its prey. A lion will help its prey. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't know that. Well, what do you mean by that?
I mean, sometimes, shoot, it's just for them. It's just in nature. It's just basically about survival. It's not about actively. Humans are the only creatures on the planet that actually kill when they're not hungry. Or in house cats. Yeah, you can't forget house cats, but everything else lives in harmony within itself.
Mm-hmm.
Everything within nature has its place. The mosquito that you and I can't stand. I'm sorry. That feeds the frog when it's a larva stage, and also it feeds the spider. You know, but it goes up the chain there. Everything. If it's not an apex, everything it revolves and it needs the other to sustain the life of something else.
Mm. And so when you said the leopard helps the antelope, is that what you were alluding to in terms of
It
just
will.
the
If a leopard finds a baby animal, sometimes they don't kill them. Sometimes they actually try to look out for them.
what would you theorize the intent for that would be?
I don't know. I can't say, but it happens multiple times, and it's been documented, and it's across the board.
Wow, that's some insightful information that I've not been exposed to, but I imagine that there is a message in that experience. It's surprising to me that a leopard wouldn't, devour that little lamb or that little antelope, but yeah, maybe it's an investment for the leopard to not kill the antelope as it in that state because it's small, but if it grows up, that's more meat on the bone.
But in nature, most big, it's a trip because in nature, excuse me, most most predators don't eat every day.
Mm, I didn't know that either.
You know, humans we eat when we want to.
Hmm.
Herbivores they graze, but most predators don't eat every day.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. What I want to ask you an imaginative question. If you chose an animal, if you chose an animal to reflect yourself, which animal would it be and why?
Mm. Everything has its own I tell people all the time, cat is nature's athlete, but they got. I don't know. I can't really say.
Mm, I can tell
The
you.
second largest brain in the animal kingdom from a human is the dolphin.
Hmm.
They off the hook.
I think the animal that reflects me or would symbolize myself is a jellyfish
Why?
because I am passionate about being intuitive in my life versus trying to, like I said earlier, expect things of life. I think a jellyfish is opportunistic, which I think being opportunistic isn't a bad thing when you experience or encounter food that just happens to come in a current or a wave and you're able to wrap your tentacles around it so that you can continue to live and grow like that would be me. I'm not trying to go seek out or chase things. I like to just attract things as they come in my life and but still maintain a sense of awareness and developing myself, within the currents of life or the ocean of life. But I don't try to chase, the fish.
So the interesting thing about jellyfish is that they're actually an accumulation of animals. There's not just one.
Hmm.
So it's a bunch of different organisms that come together. That's what forms a jellyfish. They're really not alive. They just kind of just float. They ride the currents of the oceans.
Hmm.
So, and sometimes they actually provide shelter. It's kind of into what they, their tentacles. They are, yeah. I'll bring it up to you in a second. It was good. I'll bring it up to you in a second. Uh-huh. Um, but yeah, they interesting.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of them. They're highly venomous.
Hmm. Well, I could be venomous if necessary, but I try to avoid such circumstances by maintaining my peace.
True, but I mean, the best thing about it, you won't get destroyed if somebody urinates on you.
What?
If a jellyfish stings you, that's how you kill the harpoons that the toxins. You have to urinate on it.
Ah, okay. That's interesting.
Man, you know I do this.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Well, to get to for the listeners who are unaware, Dom and I are both Leos. I'm surprised you didn't say the animal that would reflect you would be a lion.
I mean, I could say that,
Hmm.
but I mean, it depends on my mood. I mean, but at the same time, a cat can be friendly, a cat can be aggressive.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
lions, they sleep 20 hours a day.
Yeah, that's not you, huh?
No, I kind of shoot. I mean, I, I'm always, I could say I'm more of a tiger or a jaguar.
Mm. Why you say that?
They aquatic. They like they kind of just they're solo, but they socialize, but they really are solo.
Hmm.
Um, Extremely intelligent.
Hmm.
Uh, they just do what they want to do, man. They kind of just go march to their own beat of their own drum, man. I could say I'm also a orca. I could be a killer whale at times. They always figuring out something. They have fun. They play, but they treacherous if they need to be. Them things ain't no joke, bro.
Yeah, they seem real cute and cuddly, but definitely be aware.
No, I don't know if you seen on my Facebook how when they be hunting and stuff, I'll be posting. Them things is cold. They'll ram a whale. They say it's like a school bus hitting.
Mm-mm.
Imagine about 10 tons going 35 miles an hour full speed into the side. Them whales start bleeding out the mouth. It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know they weigh like. I didn't know they were like this. It's like getting hit by a school bus. Well, yeah, that's interesting.
No, orca ain't no joke, man. They swim about 35 miles an hour.
Wow.
And yeah. But then they're so sophisticated. Each pod has its own culture, own language. And yeah, they just kind of do their own thing. They got some that feed on mammals, some feed on fish, some and then they figure out, they master how to hunt. Whatever they want to master on hunting, they specialize in.
Yeah. So for those who are listening, if you want to comment in the comment section, the question was, if you chose an animal to symbolize yourself, which animal would it be and why? And so we were just having an imaginative, brief conversation about that, which is with the intent to just enhance our imaginative intellect, which is a part of our minds. It's something that I do at my job too. A lot of my coworkers, I ask them the question of the day, and each day it's a different question. But and if you, Dom, you need to come back into the session so that we can move to the next section, which you need to see. So we're gonna move to the next section of the podcast. It's called the multiple intelligence theory. So for those who are unaware of this theory, I'll give you a brief explanation of it. Hold on, Dom. I gotta add you to that.
You know my phone ain't working, bro.
Hold on. Can you see it? Can you see it?
I see I see it.
Okay, cool. So for those who are unfamiliar with the multiple intelligence theory, there are two there's two theories that are popular. One is more popular than the other one. And the popular theory suggests that we as individuals have three forms of intellect: mathematical, scientific, and writing or linguistic. However, there's an alternative theory that suggests that in addition to those three that I mentioned, we as individuals have six additional intellects, which would be musical, existential, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, which is like body smart, intrapersonal, self smart, and spatial, which is like the ability to engage and interact with the world outside of ourselves. And people who are interior designers and architects, they tend to have a high degree of intellect in that particular part of the mind. And the theory also suggests with practice and repetition, we as individuals are capable of enhancing each one of these nine intellects, using practice and repetition, similar to a basketball player who is going to the gym and working on his shooting the ball. Supposedly, the more you shoot, the higher your degree of intellect will become, right? So,
Muscle memory.
yes. So, Dom, of the nine multiple intelligence theories, of the nine multiple intellects, which one or more do you sense you have high degrees in, and how would you suggest to listeners that to develop their degrees of intellect in those ones that you have high degrees in?
You know what? The best way I can describe that, I was just thinking about that as you was asking it. A person is going, if they're interested in something, they're going to apply themselves to that practice or whatever principle they need to do to master what they want to do to be productive what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I think it's all about either a necessity or what your destiny is. If you're interested in something, you're going to make sure that you're able to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that nobody should ever limit themselves. I think you should, if you have ambition and you're striving for something, you need to go on and go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't really listen to naysayers. You can't listen to other people's opinions. If that's something you want to do, you think it's going to be beneficial to you, screw what somebody else has to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the best way I can really describe that is, if that's what you want, you're going to see to it that you get it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get to that, that means you didn't really want it bad enough.
I can relate to that. What
That's the best way to really describe it.
what of the nine, which ones do you have high degrees in?
Hold on, let me look at it on the app real quick. Hold on. Oh, here we go. I'm looking at this thing real quick. Visual.
And for those on Facebook, if you want to also interact with the podcast or the conversation, if you think that you have high degrees in one or more of these intellects, you're invited to comment in the comment section of which ones you feel like you have high degrees of intellect in.
So I believe that I'm more interpersonal, and body kinetic. I can't pronounce it. I'm not even trying to look stupid right now.
But as kinesthetic.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, that part.
Okay.
But you know what? Like, we all have glimpses of the other ones. It's just because of our interests, the ones that stand out to us are the ones that we've always excelled at.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, because if you can't say that you don't have the others, because then you're limiting yourself.
Yes, I agree. I think we possess all of them, but the to what degree is a case by case situation, and that's due to individuals initiating developing that particular intellect. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Boy, back up. My cat over here, I'm trying to trying to crowd the song.
I think for me, the degrees, I mean the intellects that I sense I have high degrees in would be bodily kinesthetic, linguistic, interpersonal, musical, existential, and interpersonal. And the way I developed them was through, well, it depends on which one that I focus on, but I enjoy writing songs. I write lyrics, and so this is something that I've dedicated a lot of time and energy to. I think I've written so far maybe close to 45, 30 to 45 songs throughout my life, and I think it seems that each time I write a new song, the my ability to express myself gets refined, and I do it with because I enjoy writing it and seeing the outcome of them. And then in terms of like bodily kinesthetic, I intentionally put forth an effort to do exercise 3 times a week. I do power walking, and
Uh-huh.
I power walk about 4 miles each day of those 3 days. And I do that because there was a time where I was overweight and I just didn't enjoy the internal feeling of being sluggish and not being able to effectively do my job without being lethargic and tired.
How
And
much
so
were you overweight by?
I think I was overweight about 15 pounds, 15.
Oh my God, that is a lot.
Are you saying that sarcastically?
Of course. Man, I'm a damn porker right now, bro.
Well, I hope you will be able to. I hope you will be able to get to a healthy weight.
Nah, I will. I was training jujitsu for about 8 years, 9 years.
Hmm.
But then, I started to chase after the bag, and when I come home from work, I didn't feel like leaving the house.
Hmm.
But and then had a near death experience, and that kind of changed my perspective on a lot of stuff too. So
Oh wow! I'm glad you were able to avoid, being in a terminal situation.
yeah, man. Shoot, I got sleep apnea real bad, and it affected my heart. So you gotta be careful with that sleep apnea.
Oh, okay. Um,
Yeah.
how are you able to? How are you able to see yourself out of that situation and avoid, you know, passing?
Man, shoot. Prayer, God, and shoot, you just gotta life changes.
Hmm.
Life changes. So when your heart get messed, when somebody they told me my heart was stressed out, that made me, oh wow.
What changes did you initiate to prevent you from like being in that type of detrimental circumstance?
Just it's just lifestyle changes. Everything is slow but steady, so it's moving.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm glad you chose to like change your life, because even if someone tells you or makes recommendations, it's ultimately up to the individual to decide to adopt the guidance, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I look at that one.
Um, so you're also a father. What what's your perspective on fatherhood?
I love my babies the most, but it's a trip, man. my kids, they're my little buttercups. It's funny because when you look at somebody that you helped to create and you can see characteristics in yourself, you be like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's just funny. I can see myself when I'm in different stages of my life. I see, it's kind of like that Freud when he's talking about the id, the superego, and the ego.
Mm-hmm.
People go through certain stages in their life, and you can really see it.
Mm.
Children, they go through, they're pure id, they're pure ego. They're all about themselves. They don't really care. As you get older is when you kind of start to soften and really see people, and that's when you get more empathetic and sympathetic to people. But at the same time, they still got this sense of beauty about them that just makes it second to none.
You stating that having children helps to enhance empathy is insightful for me, because someone who doesn't have kids, that is a perspective that I don't have. So, but it seems relatable to me, because there was a time in my life where I worked in a preschool, and having those relationships with the children and interacting with them, and noticing that due to their stage of development, they had not limitations, but they weren't at a point in their life where they could communicate their wants and needs. So for me, I had to have a sense of patience and empathy to be able to interact with them. So to a degree, I can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's like, not just that, it's like, how do I put this? Like, I grew up around my mother, all my grandmothers, my great-grandmothers, cousins. You learn a lot about people when you have children. Mm-hmm. I learned about women having a daughter. I learned about myself more by having a son. Because I look at him, I see certain parts of me, I'm like, damn, that's how I looked when I was doing that. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes you look at yourself like, damn. So it kind of forces you to look in the mirror.
Mm. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because, to have a child, you can't be selfish. You have to be selfless. Mm. I mean, if you're right, but as they get older, but they can get older, they're still going to be your children. You still want to care, make sure that they're good, make sure that they have everything that they need. But you kind of got to let life kind of teach them lessons too.
Mm. And I can imagine for a parent that could be frightening to have that willingness to allow the child to learn on their own versus trying to shelter them.
No. That's called being that's when that comes in, the difference between having a mother and a father. Because of the father, you kind of learn as a father, men. Well, even some women, they're, we're a little bit more risk taking, so you learn from your father, you can't really, you can't be timid. If you want something, you got to go be aggressive about it. That's how you kind of see that formulate throughout life. But, you learn how to love from your mother and your grandmother. Mm-hmm. Your father can teach you how to love, but it's a different type of love. We interact different. We talk different. So expecting your father to be like your mother is not always it's going to be a slight change. Mm-hmm. Like, you could be around your mother and be around, as a baby, and be close to the oven, stay away from the oven. Now, your father, he'll tell you maybe once, twice. After a while, you're like, no, forget it. But you're going to learn today. Your mom, she going to be, oh, my poor baby, come here. Now, your dad, man, let him cry.
Right.
But That's the important. That's the reason why kids need both sides. That's why they say a man that's overly emotional and too emotional is dangerous. Boy, what is you doing? And or that's how little girls learn how to interact. And it's that disconnect that's going on.
Yeah. So I know. So we're going to. Usually this podcast goes to about 9:30, but Dom has a job to do in the morning, so he has to get up early. So we're gonna go to the next phase. Hopefully, Dom, can you stick around for 10 minutes?
Five's cool.
5 minutes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, hold on. We're gonna go to the next scene. Okay, so for this section is called the multiple. This is called the interpreting expression section. So for those who are unaware of it, I happen upon quotes or questions that I find to be relatable to myself, and I present these in the podcast so that hopefully they can be relatable to others and use them as tools to inspire themselves to grow. And me and the featured guest will share our interpretations of the quote in hopes that it will also be relatable to the listeners and to ourselves as we express ourselves. So today's quote is: be an energy converter. Whatever comes your way, convert it into what you want to become. Everything is how you respond to it, not to how it actually is. So, Dom, how would you interpret this quote, and how is it relatable to yourself?
Can you please repeat that one more time?
Be an energy converter. Whatever comes your way, convert it into what you want to become. Everything is how you respond to it, not how it actually is.
Oh, I can tell you easy with that one. Basically, you control your own environment. You control your own mood sets. You control everything. So if you allow the people to come into your environment and dictate to you how you should feel, then you're not in control of your own environment.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I interpreted that one.
Okay, and then can you give us an example that would be relatable to this quote that you've experienced?
If I come to your job with a bad attitude
Mm-hmm.
and start yelling at you and give you a bad mood, that means I controlled your environment at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I came in there with a bad attitude and you somehow made me start laughing, that means you took control of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate to that, and I think my interpretation of it is, it seems like energy outside of ourselves is like it's out of our control, yet energy outside of ourselves can also be a tool that we can utilize to help us to better ourselves. And so, based on what you were saying, it seems like even negative energy can be used as a tool if converted in a way that's going to be of benefit to ourselves. And I think like someone who expressing themselves in a negative way, that experience could be useful for me if I am going to use it as a tool for me to realize like this is a mind state, or this is a behavior that I don't want to adopt or initiate in myself, or I don't want to emulate this. So by choosing not to emulate or reflect that, it helps me to become wiser, more mature, and I can also use this experience as a reference when should I experience someone else who behaves that way too. So at that point, it seems like that's what when the conversion would happen.
We control our own destiny, bro.
And then the part where it says everything is how you respond to it and not how it actually is to me that's alluding to the fact that there was a quote where it said you may never see Satan coming, but you may see him go. So like we'll never know like the true intentions of somebody. They may tell you like I intend to do this, I intend to do that. But ultimately, from my perspective, intention isn't it. It starts from within. Someone can tell me I intend to pay you. If I loan somebody $5 and they say, "Oh, I intend to pay you back tomorrow," all I can really base off their statement is I'm hoping that they will do it. But since I don't know if they like their mind or I can't read their mind, it's something that is abstract to me. So hopefully they will, but if they don't, it's up to me to decide how I respond to that act versus me trying to like figure out why they didn't pay me back because I'll never know that because even if they told me, they could be lying, right? So that's the way I interpret that section.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody controls their own destiny. But you can also look at it like this too. Somebody come at you with negative and they telling you they try to knock you while you down, you use that as motivation to become something better. I mean, not everything that's negative is truly negative. Sometimes it's meant to motivate you. You know, that's why you can't be sensitive. That's why you got to be open to criticism. You know, I surround myself with people that are not afraid to tell me the truth. I don't like liars. I'd rather you tell me the cold hard truth, hurt my feelings now, so I can work on me and be a better me tomorrow.
Yes, I agree. I relate to that, and I tend to be attracted to people who tell me the truth too, versus trying to enable me and tell me things that I know is wrong, but I want them to tell me it's right.
You know, actually, you just asked me what animal I would consider myself to be. I would say a phoenix because a phoenix is always born from fire. When it gets hard, that's when you really find out what you're really all about.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that statement because especially when you had spoke about your near-death experience, that to me was a fire experience, and by you choosing to change how you conducted yourself is you rising from the flames.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Cool. Well, thank you, Don, for tuning in.
Thank you.
And what would your parting words be?
Show love, shoot. That's it. As long as you have that, you really can't go wrong.
Okay. Yeah, my parting words would be it seems that growth can attract opportunity and detriment can attract chaos. And so it is up to the individual to decide which experience do they want to participate in. And for me, I choose growth and peace. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope this podcast was inspirational and resourceful. I intend to host an additional podcast at a future date, and I will post it on social media, Facebook and Instagram. I appreciate y'all all, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of the night. Good evening.
Good night.
Bye.